So my name is Isaiah Reeves. I went to Perry High School, graduate of Grove City College. My path was going to college, and it was in Urban Impact where I developed my passion for ministry, having served at the summer day camp for three or 4 years, and I knew I always wanted to give back after college. So ultimately, when I went into college, I knew what I wanted to do when I got out. And so just seeing like the heartaches, the tragic situations that we see in our community, I knew there was something that I wanted to do to be able to give back. And I felt like Urban Impact provided me the opportunity to do that. So for me, Grove City, I know a lot of people just kind of had talked about it. A lot of people that did summer day camp were Grove City College students, and they told me it was a really good school. And I knew I wanted to be able to go to a school where really challenged me academically and just really set me up for success. And I heard a lot of good things about Grove City, but I didn't know how tough it was going to be when I actually stepped on campus. You know, being one of the few African Americans on campus was challenging. You know, failing a lot of classes early on because of my high school background was really challenging, but I saw the Lord just put different people in my life to help me. Some of my coaches from Urban Impact would come up to visit me and just really help me to continue to not give up. And so that was one of the main, I wanted to be able to be different. I knew Grove City was tough and it was a challenge, but I knew just with the Lord that He would help me through that. So as a kid, I was a part of the AAU basketball teams, intramural teams, and that's where really, just being able to offer high level basketball for a cheap price. Not many kids in the area we grew up with have $500 to pay for AAU teams. So I knew Urban Impact provided that opportunity for me, not just from the basketball standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint as well. And after I graduated from college, so I volunteered through tutoring, through SAT prep, through the different learning labs that they have going on now as well. So I was a pretty active volunteer as well throughout my time. Just knowing what Urban Impact has helped in my life, I wanted to be able to give back regardless of what organization I work for. So now I work for Young Life, and so this is probably my 5th or 6th months in Young Life, but and I enjoy that as well. I still volunteer at Urban Impact with flag football and tutoring, so still a great way to see the organizations come together for one. I think Urban Impact definitely played a vital part in my life, as I said, with just my heart for ministry. I was heavily involved in the Salvation Army as well as the Pittsburgh Project. But as far as like when I became a summer day camp counselor, I feel like that's when the Lord really did a work in my life. And I think, and also like Camp Allegheny as well. So those two ministries really were vital. And like I don't believe, or I don't know, but I know they really changed my life because I saw how good I felt being able to serve a summer, like knowing that we weren't getting paid a lot, but knowing that our investment was much deeper than the money. It was, in the hearts of these kids, and knowing that impact is much more than any money could buy. And so I was thankful, just for that opportunity. I feel passionate about the North Side just because I grew up there, and we see just how good it can be, and we see how easy it is for just like the neighborhood to be changed and to be gentrified, honestly. Like if we're not taking good care of our community, then there are going to be people that come in and take over, and that's what we see now. And so praying that we can help restore, just our community back. And that's going to take time and it's going to take work, but I just have a passion to see, more kids know about Christ and have opportunities like myself, whether it's through Urban Impact, through Young Life, to hear about Christ, because like I said, that's who changes our hearts. And it's so easy for our kids to get caught up, in the streets and some other things. And, that's where, God plays a big part. He's loving, He's forgiving, but we just want to make sure that we make the best of our opportunities now before it's too late. Yeah, I definitely believe like living in the community you serve is definitely beneficial because, as we see, in ministry, it's challenging, one being a person of color, but also on a second side of it, for me too, was always like, I want kids to see me. It's good to see people that look like you. But also when I went to Grove City, there weren't a lot of people that look like me. And just because someone doesn't look like you doesn't mean don't go through similar situations. So there's a person that may be in Wexford or New Kensington, but they still go through struggles. And so I think those people whoever's coming into a ministry position, it should be, your number one goal is to learn and understand the community you're serving, and to know like it's going to be challenging regardless if you're black or white. But if you're doing it with the heart of Jesus, then that should carry you on long lasting. And so I just believe it's definitely vital, definitely important to be in a community you serve, because how can you do that and you're living 20, 30 minutes away? And I understand from a point of like, living on the north side is expensive now, so I understand that, but just trying your best to be fully invested in the community as much as you can, even if you don't live there. Yeah, so I grew up in a single parent home, and so that had its challenges, not having a dad in the household, but I was truly thankful for my mom and just the rock that she was in my family, and just making sure that we were rooted in Christ. And so throughout high school, college, my mom was always on my back, just to do well in school, just to stay out of the streets. And there was a lot of temptations, but I knew I just didn't want to make the same mistakes that I saw a lot of my friends make, my brother and sister. And so, in high school period, I knew college was an option, but I never really kind of believed that, or just even playing basketball at the next level was something that we all have dreams of, but didn't know if it would actually come true. And, just through Urban Impact, through the Pittsburgh project, there were different people who were pouring into my life to make sure that I was making that jump and make sure I was ready to go to college and to be able to play. And so, like I said, through Urban Impact, that's where I really gained my desire for ministry. And ultimately, I feel like that's the job that I want to continue for the rest of my life, is just being able to serve and give back to the community I grew up in, or just any community, because I feel like, the one thing that changes us all is Christ. And, we can't change hearts, God does that. And so just having the opportunity to play a small part in that is just really taking me a long way, and being able to know that, I'm helping enhance the kingdom in a good way. Yeah, so for me, like I said, for my mom being that spiritual rock, I feel like a lot of it wasn't forced, but it was like, if you stayed in the house, you were going to church every Sunday, you were going to Bible study. And I never really felt like it was my own till my mom got sick, and she got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I was in 9th grade. And I really started to question who God was, just because of, my mom's doing everything right, and you put this sickness on her. But seeing how she just gave praise to him throughout, it just really did a work in me. And so I feel like in 9th grade was really where I saw that change in my heart and my desire to seek the Lord. Seeing that same faith that my mom had, even despite her sickness, I wanted that for myself. And like I said, just through Urban Impact as well, through the Pittsburgh project, just seeing coaches show up, in your life, knowing like we were not terrible kids, but we were bad kids, and just seeing how they just constantly showed up, whether it was meal, giving us rides. And it takes a special type of person to really care for you in that type of level. And so that was just like my spiritual journey, seeing my mom's faith really have an impact on me. And then I knew once I went to college and things like that, it was like, I wasn't forced to go to church, I wasn't forced to read my Bible. And so those things I had to do on my own. And not to say like, it was challenging, because you miss having someone force you to, but that's not your own. Just my biggest thing I really have for the community, and just for in general, is just, I think just community and unity is something that's really been on my heart. Like, what can we do now in this COVID season to really just help kids, help others? Like, I feel like all of us are struggling in some type of way, whether physically, emotionally, spiritually, and like we need to just join forces together, no matter gender, race, political views, just really combining each other to help, like I said, enhance the kingdom, and just really being there for kids. I know it's tough, and I know we have to wear masks, but how can we just really be there for our kids, because they're going to be next up, they're going to be the next generation, and what we do now will affect how we look, in 2021, And so, yeah, that's just my big heart is like, how can I do my best to serve kids, to serve, regardless if it's Young Life or Urban Impact, like I just want to be there for people because I know like people were there for me. And so I just want to be able to give that back and also help others to do that. Not just do it for the main reason of, feeling good about yourself, but to genuinely be there and care for people in this time. It just really, I think, my coaches like Coach Nehemiah, Coach Greg, even like Coach Seth, Andrew, like those guys really imparted what it really meant to be men of God. And I think just how they served me and just how they loved me, regardless of, athletic ability. Even my coach at Grove City, I just really saw that, and I knew that was something that like I wanted to do. And I think just how just really being there for people. I think we provide a lot of things, but if you take away like sports, you take away all these other things, like what really matters? Like, is that kid gonna call you, when they're in jail or they're struggling? Like, who are they gonna call? And a lot of times sometimes it's not their parents, it's us, their camp counselors or their Young Life leader or urban missionary. And so just being there and being present in the moment, and it's exhausting, but it just goes a long way to really show up there for kids. And I think that's one way, like I said, I just keep mentioning enhancing the kingdom because I think we have such a predominant role right now just to really, in our ministries, that I think sometimes we can take for granted, just being able to really have the opportunity to share the love of Christ in kids' heart. And everyone's not going to accept that right away. And for some of us, it takes 5 years, it takes 15, but just knowing that the Lord's going to do the work whenever that person is ready.